Hi everyone, I'm back for my second reading from the book that I published several years ago. It is called Reasonableness of Faith, reading a study of Kierkegaard's philosophical fragments. We did our first video recording of reading a small portion from the first page under chapter 1, entitled Reading Philosophical Fragments, the general problem of faith and reason in the philosophical fragments. So here we go. The main argument we find in fragments is that reason and religious faith are essentially irreconcilable because each has its own root. Example, humanity and divinity, respectively. Does this mean that human reason for him has no historical relation to the transcendent? In the absolute sense, his answer is no. He repeatedly makes the claim that there is no meaningful relation between philosophic reason and religious faith because the former is immanent and the latter a matter of transcendence. Does this mean that Climacus is a fideist, one who does not see any possible reconciliation between faith and reason, due to reason's limitations in identifying the experience of the transcendent? What about those, for example, Coolidge, Evans, Ferreira, Westphal, who argue that Kierkegaard's or Climacus' metaphysics or philosophy of religion contains a point of contact between transcendence and reason? At least that's my interpretation of those philosophers' position for Kierkegaard on this particular matter. I'm going to go on and read the next paragraph, which is a little bit longer than the one I just read. Kierkegaard's fragments does not contain clear answers to these questions. However, I will argue that the factual element of the faith-reason relation is evident in Climacus' analysis of his orthodox position with respect to the faith-reason relation. I will argue that for him, reason performs the work to a certain extent of affirming the existence of the transcendent. I will thus argue that he situates himself as one who acknowledges an absolute distinction between the eternal and the human, and who at the same time does not entirely reject the notion of historical knowledge of God. I will argue that he is somewhere between fideism, which holds to an absolute distinction between faith and reason, and foundationalism, which maintains that every human being has a basic knowledge of the truth, God. I will argue that even though he completely rejects the humanistic idea of God-human unity in, for instance, the form of an Hegelian synthesis, which I deal with in chapter 4 of the thesis, he nonetheless affirms that there is a certain kind of transcendental dialectic between the transcendent and reason. For this reason, then, we may argue that Climacus holds that all human affairs are conscious responses to the being and existence of that which can be transcendentally or metaphysically or even ideally, if you wish, thought by the human mind, namely the eternal God. I'll see you next time.